What's up, boys? We are back at the Hideaway, episode number 10. Matt secured the bag here.
Gonna be focusing purely on poker today.
Oh yeah, no distractions. Also, it's hella windy, so the audio probably sucks. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But yeah, we're just gonna ride on the felt. You know what? We're gonna be wilding out. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we don't lose a lot of money, but probably will. All right, brand new table. We're playing 1-3. We looked down at 5-4 of diamonds in the cutoff. Maybe a little bit of loose open, but it's the very first hand. No, we gotta show the table who's the boss. So we raised it up to $15 over the limp by the end of the gun. And we're gonna get a call from the big blind and the limper. We're gonna go 3 ways to a flop of Jack 10-3, 2 diamonds. It's going to check to me. I'm gonna bet 25. The big blind's going to fold, and the under the gun limper is going to make the call. Turn is the 8 of spades, giving us no additional equity, but you know what? He's gonna check to me, and we're going to bet $65 this time. And unfortunately, again, he makes the call. We go heads up to a river of the king of spades. Once again, he's going to check over to me, and in this spot, we have a terrible spot to bluff because I don't have any blockers to value hands that he could, or to hands that he could be having, such as king queen, queen jack, ace king, ace jack. So 5-4 diamonds honestly is just a terrible hand to bluff with, but this is the literal first hand of the table, and sometimes you just gotta show the table who's gonna run the table. So you know what? We go all in for $385 effective, and he goes in the tank. And the entire time he's thinking, he counts out his chips, he puts them back, counts them out, puts them back, and I'm just screaming, fold, fold, fold. He doesn't fold, guys. He ends up calling, and honestly, the biggest mistake of the hand is as soon as he calls, I muck my cards. So I don't even get to see what he called with, but so yeah, very rough way to start off the session, getting stacked immediately.
Well, the good news is we cannot start the session any worse than Sal. No offense, bud. We're gonna look down at ace king of diamonds in the cutoff and open at $10. We're going to see a call from the button and the big blind. We're going to go 3 ways to a flop of 8-6 deuce, 2 clubs, 1 diamond. Big blind checks me. I see bet 15. Backdoor flush draw, 2 overs. Just going to be c-betting a lot. Big blind's going to make the call, and the turn is the jack of spades. He checked it over to me, and the jack of spades is kind of a neutral card. I don't see him hitting that jack too often, but I think he's going to hit it. I don't think I'm going to hit it extremely often, so I decided to go ahead and check back. I think I'm good against all draws, but we don't have a hand worth protecting. So check back. The river is actually really good for us. It's an offsuit 6 pairing the board, and when he instantly bet 60 into me, I actually don't think too long before making the call, and ace king high gonna be good, and yeah, we're gonna start the session off amazing.
Alright, on our way back up, we're gonna look down at ace king off and the button. It's gonna be raised under the gun +1 to $10. The cutoff is going to call. Pretty clear 3-bet here. I raised it to $45, and only the initial raiser calls. Go heads up to a flop of Jack 8-5, 2 spades. He checks. I decide to check back. I don't want to bluff off all my stack again. We go heads up to a turn. That is the king of diamonds. Pretty good river, or turn, I mean. Turn top pair. He bets $25 into me, and I make the call. River is a 3 of clubs. He checks, and against his opponent, he has been pretty much a calling station. Ironic, I know, up until this point. So I'm definitely gonna go for some thin value here. Maybe he has a jack or something, and I'm gonna bet $75 on this river, and he ends up making the call, and we show our hand, and we're good. So win a decent pot there. Still stuck though.
So I go card dead for a while at 1-3, and as much fun as it is to battle Sal, I actually decide to move over to the 1-2 game that looks a lot better, and I've got a couple friends over there, so it just seemed like a better time. So this hand we're going to look down at pocket queens, and we're going to 3-bet and open from early position to $15. We're going to make it 45, and we're going to see a call. So we're going to go heads up to a flop of King 9-5 with 2 diamonds. He's going to check it over to me. I usually bet smaller in these instances. I don't see any problem with it, so I bet 30, keeping ranges wide, forcing him to, continue with a lot of weird holdings, making my c-bet a little bit more profitable here. The turn isn't the best card, not the worst. It's the 9 of spades. So when he checks it over to me, obviously still losing to kings, but I think kings are going to get some value out of me anyway, so I end up deciding to charge draws and kind of try to, I guess, guarantee myself a free showdown, at least a decent percentage of the time. My opponent ends up making the call, and the river is not very good for us. It's the 10 of diamonds, and he's going to snap jam for a little under 200. I mean, not too many bluffs that he can have here. So, as you can see, I'm gonna kind of disgustedly toss my queens into the muck.
Alright, now that Matt left, the 1-3 game is starting to get really short-handed, and we're playing this hand 4-handed. It lifts to me in the big blind. I look down at 8-9 of hearts, and we're gonna raise it up to $23, and only the button is going to call, which happens to be the guy that stacked me in the very first hand. Go heads up to a flop of King Jack Jack with 2 hearts. I bet $17, and he makes the call. Go do a turn that is the 7 of hearts. We hit the flush this time. Yay! I'm gonna keep on betting. I bet $40, and he once again makes the call. To the river of the ace of clubs. I mean, there's sometimes I'm scared of like ace jack, king jack, maybe jack 7, but you know what? I want my money back from him. So we're gonna fire $110. This could be some really thin value here, but if he can call me with like a queen jack, jack 10, jack 9, then obviously we're making lots of money. And so after some deliberation, he makes the call, and we get a small rebate, and it's getting somewhat closer back to even.
In this hand, we're going to keep it up with the premiums. Not really. We're going to be opening jack 8 off in middle position because there's no good reason. This is a bad open. Tilt and impatience is one hell of a drug. And so yeah, it's not a good open by any means. I'm sorry. But good news is we're only going to get 1 call from the limper. And we're going to go heads up to a flop of jack 9-4 rainbow. He's going to check it over to me. I put in a pretty standard C bet to the tune of $15. He very quickly check raises me to 40. I mean, I'm never folding for that sizing, so I'm not raising, obviously. So I make the call. The turn is the most inconsequential card you've ever seen. It's the deuce of hearts. The deuce of hearts never changes anything, ever. In the history of poker, never once has it ever changed anything. Look it up. But so when he bets 40 on the turn, or my bad, 50 on the turn, I'm gonna be making the call, because if I thought it was ahead on the flop, I think I'm ahead here. The river is an offsuit ace, and he very quickly jams for $101. And this is pretty weird because the ace, I think, is actually going to be a really good card for me, in theory. And when he bets this quickly, it's typically gonna be a bluff, but the thing is, the only two obvious bluffs to have here are Queen 10 and 10-8, and I obviously block 10-8, having an 8 in my hand. Oh man, if only there was a way we could have avoided this position. Maybe opening Jack 8 off is not the best move, but he did not consider one thing. I am a calling station. Have been from day one, and so we're gonna go ahead and end up making this call. He mucks his cards, and we're gonna be good and scoop this pot.
Got some more players. We're now 6-handed. The under the gun's going to limp. I'm gonna raise it to $18 and under the gun +1 / the hijack, and the limper is going to call. Go heads up to a flop of 963 rainbow. She checks. I end up checking back. The turn is a 4, giving me an open ender. She checks. I bet $20, and she's going to make the call. The river is an interesting one. It is a 5. So I have a set now, but there's a 4-liner to a straight, and to make things even weirder, she leads out for $40, and I go into the tank, and I'm just like wondering, like, what is she doing this with? Obviously, I don't have many 7s in my range, but does she calling the turn with the open ender, because that gets the 7-8 also gets there, or like, I don't know, this is weird. And given my name of the channel, I end up making the call, and I show my set of 5s, and I'm good. Yep, never folding again. Always calling. They never have it. Yeah, I think that's what I learned from this hand.
In this hand, we're going to look down at one of my favorites, pocket aces, and we're going to open a 12 from early position, and we're going to see 3 calls. Flop is King Jack 7 with 2 clubs and 1 spade. Obviously, you know, kind of connected, a lot of draws to charge. We can get value from kings, jacks, you know, a lot of hands. So I go ahead and c-bet for $35. We're gonna get 2 folds and 1 call. Heads up to a turn, which is the 8 of spades. So now 2 flush draws on the board. A lot of I think a lot of people slow down on this board because it looks kind of connected, but there's still so many hands you can gain value from. You're ahead so often. I think checking here is probably a mistake. So we're gonna go ahead and fire again for $75. And this time we're just gonna get a fold, so works out pretty well. And actually kind of happy not to get a call. I think that's a win, folding out any equity here, because there aren't a lot of cards that we can gain value from. Not a lot of rivers we can value bet. So that's we're just happy to take it down here.
Alright, last hand for me before I go play is 4 and 5 card madness. There's going to be a limp, a raise 12 and under the gun +1, and I'm gonna 3-bet to $45 with my pocket jacks, or yeah, we're just calling pocket jacks. I don't know what the cool kids call them. And the big blind, under the gun, and the under the gun under the gun +1 person calls. So we go 4 ways to a flop of 6-4-4, 2 spades. Which checks all the way to me. I'm gonna put a continuation bet of $70. And then the big blind is going to jam for $330. So, not the greatest spot ever, but I end up making the call because this person has been losing a lot. They are clearly on tilt, and so I think they can be forcing the action a little bit here with a lot of worse hands, 7s through 10s, a 6, or a spade draw. So I make the call, and we see the turn being the ace of spades, which not a good card, bring the flush and an over. River is going to be another good card, as it's going to be the king of hearts. So I'm not too confident in my jacks now, but he says we're good. and I show my jacks, and we're good. So I'm very surprised to win the hand, but not going to complain there.
So in this hand, we're going to be playing 5-card, high only. Here they call it Big O, but I know Big O in different parts of the country is sometimes high-low. But so for the purpose of this hand, 5-card, high only to, you know, appease everybody. We're going to be playing the not so good end of the deck here because I don't know how to fold. We're going to go like 6 ways to a flop, which is pretty nice. I'm going to always love to flop the nuts on the 5-4 deuce board with the 5-4 of clubs. So, you know, if the nuts weren't good enough, you know, 2 pair, so boat outs possibly. You know, always nice to have a straight flush draw in there somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and bet 45 and a 90 here. We're going to get a call, and somebody is going to rip it on us for approximately 145 total. I'm obviously going to make the call. The decision here is to whether or not I want to go ahead and repot and try to isolate, or call and allow the player behind us more incentive to put more money into the pot. I think in this spot, repotting is probably the best option because we allow ourselves the chance to fold out, you know, any equity the player on my left may have. I don't think he's ever going to have the 6-3. And with as much money in the pot, I think if we just deny equity, that's probably just the best play. We end up getting the fold, and a player across from me also flopped 6-3, but unfortunately he had no redraws, so we were free rolling him, and we get there with one of our outs in the form of a boat. So we're going to be scooping that pot. In this hand, we're going to look down at ace-queen off and open to $12 under the gun. We're going to see 3 calls, and the blinds are going to get out of the way, so we're going to go 4 ways to the flop, which is kind of bittersweet because we're going to smash top pair, but on a queen-jack-10 with 2 diamonds board, extremely connected, extremely wet, we're going to see bet $20 and get 2 calls. Not the end of the world, but you know, it's one of those hands where you're going to definitely feel a little uncomfortable. Not too many turn cards you like to see. But the good thing is we didn't get raised, so we actually there's no reason for us to believe that we're not good here. Until the 10 of clubs rolls off, it's not the best card, but you know, it's not the worst card. I mean, some 10-9 gets there. I don't know, maybe like king 10. But I don't think there are a lot of 10s in everybody's range. But I do go ahead and decide to check it over. Because I think if I bet and get raised in this spot, it's kind of nightmarish. But by checking, I allow my opponents to semi-bluff with their draws, and I think it's going to be a little bit more profitable than just leading. So when there's a bet of 60, I call, and the middle position player calls as well. We go to a river, which is going to be an offsuit deuce. I check, both players check behind, and ace-queen is good. I'm curious, I'm not sure what I would have done had I faced a very large bet on the river from either player. Knowing me, probably would have called. Y'all know why by now. In this hand, we're going to be defending our big blind with queen 10 of spades, and we're going to go 4 ways to a flop of jack 8-7, 2 clubs, 1 spade. I check, the initial raiser checks, another player checks, and the player on the button actually decides to bet 15 here. I think I have a really good check raising hand, and especially when he bets that small. I don't think he's ever going to be very strong, and even if we don't get it done on this street, I think we're going to turn a lot of good cards, either that give us extra equity or are just better for our range. Apparently we don't even have to worry about that because the player's just going to let go of his hand, and we're going to get one through.
So once again, Matt and I forgot to do an outro. The beers may have had something to do with that, but I ended up being down $600 in the 1-3 game, but made $960 playing dealer's choice, so I ended up the session plus $360. Matt was killing it in the 1-2 game, but he got in a really bad spot. He flopped top and bottom versus top 2, ace 8 versus ace 9 on ace 9-8, turns an ace, and they get not all the money in, but a lot of money. I was one of the few guys that had Matt covered. So Matt ended up only being down $300 after being up like $1,000 at one point. So I guess net even, basically up $60 for the calling stations. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Back to the cash game grinds. Probably not gonna play many tournaments moving forward. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Say hi to our followers, Mencho. Hey there. Make sure to follow our social media pages, guys. And yeah, see y'all next time. Peace.